For the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, did everybody have a chance to read the minutes, previous meeting?
I did. I saw one error. It's probably technical, but it said that Chairman Bauer made a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, okay. And I had a small technical one too, and it said that I made the motion that the next meetings were on Monday, June 18th and July 5th, which was
June
Wednesday-
28th.
or Monday, June 28th and July 5th. So that should have been Wednesday. That's one reason when I read that in the news leaf, and I seen that, that's one reason I had you send out a thing to remind people that it was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
And then we make note that our next meeting will be on
The
the,
fifth.
Wednesday,
Fifth.
July 5th,
yeah.
same times. Get this straightened out.
I move to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. Okay. Joe Bowen was here this morning because he had to run somewhere else for, he's got a 105. His was the tax credit deal from the River Bluff Architects. It's the crossover hallway roof, and filing with for the tax credits on that. We just needs a signature. We need to vote and have a signature so he can send it in. See where the signature goes.
State Bob.
Pat, do you know? Could you see on where would I sign that?
I think it's right there.
Okay. Okay. Do I hear a motion to give me the authority to sign off on the tax credits?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. I'll put it in the blue folder, and he said to put it in his, give it to him later. He had to go to Effingham to put in a water heater. He also had a request, or said that they were having problems with the air conditioning in the treasurer's office, and that he won't know until later today or even later this week whether we can repair it, or anyway, he needs the authority to either go ahead with repairs or replacement of air conditioning unit for the treasurer's side of the courthouse. I don't know how we want to word that, but
I would move to give Joe the authority, if a repair cannot be done economically, that he would have the authority to replace the unit for no more than $5,000.
I don't know. I don't know how much they cost.
He said 4.
Oh, for
that was a guesstimate.
That was
so
a guess.
Hopefully he'll get more than one bid, or maybe there's,
Yeah.
and I would second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Little bit of discussion on that. What or do we really want to have that cap on there? I mean, what if it's 5,100? They're going to be waiting a week. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I like having a cap on there, but before we pass it, do we want to rethink it?
That can go either way. What if it costs 25,000? I mean, it's got to be fixed, but is there other options? So I don't know.
Right.
Well, he said around $4,000, and I have no problem removing the lid if that's an issue. The thing is, the guy has to make a decision
Mm-hmm.
when we can't approve it. And if he can't find that leak, which hopefully he will, and it'll just be a small fix.
Right.
He can't find it, he's gonna have to replace.
Well, the only reason I was questioning the cap at all is if that happens, and it'll be another week before we meet, and that's the reason he was seeking the authority to begin with. So, but if we're happy with that language, I'll call for a vote, and all in favor say aye.
Well, man,
I would amend my motion to take off the cap, assuming it would be around the amount that he gave.
I would like to add to Jack's motion, if it's more than 5,000, to get a hold of the chairman, possibly.
Yeah, that may be the chairman
And
could
so-
make that decision.
Okay.
Motion-
Do I hear a motion to accept the amendment to the original motion?
Or do we just start off with a whole new
Well,
motion?
you probably should either
Rescind.
rescind the motion or vote it down and start over. But you
Mr.
just need
Chairman, I'd like to
clarity.
rescind my motion. And I'd like to make a motion to give Joe the authority to make a replacement if he cannot find an adequate repair.
Okay, and you want that to include give me the authority if it's over
If it's over
$5,000?
$5,000, the authority would go to the chairman to make that decision.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0.
We better let Michelle get caught up.
Mm-hmm.
You okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
She can watch the video too.
I do.
So,
I double check.
okay, we've got a little bit of time here. We've got a form for NACO, Kansas Association of Counties, we've already, didn't we already approve this once, but we didn't make the official ballot for Richard
Correct.
Malm for the Jefferson County Commissioner to be our representative to the Governing Board of National Association of Counties. Do we, and this is supposed to be signed by Michelle, clerk.
I think you guys
So-
just have to kind of like just vote to pass it and then I put the paperwork in.
Okay, do I hear a motion to give Michelle the authority to sign off on having Richard Malm, the Jefferson County Commissioner, the representative for National Association of Counties?
I so move, Mr. Chairman, if Mr. Baum is available.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Do you want it now or
Folder as well.
just leave it right here? This blue folder's getting full this week.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I think I've seen something else in here.
Tax rebate,
Hmm?
tax abatements.
Yeah, we've signed off on these. You haven't
Yeah.
initialed those yet. Peggy House from the Atchison Senior Village was here this morning, and she has a PO for us. We need to vote and sign off on in the amount of $1,754.07 for repairs to the bus, I should say, which is mainly the air conditioning, cranking system, and the steering stabilizer. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
I second it, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passed 3-0. Michelle, maybe you can help me a little bit. We had the budget for the court turned into us by Donna Oswald. Now, her budget runs a little different, and she needs to have this signed off on us at this time and not.
She has to present that back to her chief judge in Leavenworth County to go along with the rest of her budget, because some of her budget is state, some of her budget is county.
Okay, I'll just let you guys look at her budget, and I guess we need to make a decision on that. I don't think it's went up, so. Get too much stuff in here.
I would move to adopt the budget for the district court,
First Judicial District.
first judicial district.
I second it. I don't know if you want to specify the amount or just Michelle can write that.
The proposed budget year for
Yes.
2018 is in the amount of $80,000, which is unchanged from 2017. Second that?
Yes.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. There's no place on, I'm going to go ahead and initial
Just
that.
initial it.
I don't-
Where you need to sign.
Where's the
Basically,
sign?
Oh, County Commission right
and
here.
then- And then sign here.
Okay. I didn't see that there.
Just the chairman, probably.
Yeah.
Presiding officer, yes. And this is 6. Okay.
Let me give it to you.
Goes in this folder.
Do you need it now? I'll just put it in, this goes to her.
Okay.
Last, was it last week or the week before when we got our K.Camp had done the audit of our buildings, and I said that I was interested in seeing what the previous report had been. So Michelle has put the new evaluation on the on the right hand side as on this report of what buildings are covered and what figures have been attributed to each, and the previous one, which would have been, what year was this done?
2011.
2011 on the left-hand side. So if commissioners would like,
Is that a replacement cost, or did it specify?
it's replacement cost, I believe, yes. So some of them are really quite high.
I believe there are some that are historical value, not only just replacement, but it's historical value. So it would be replaced to the historical aspect of it. I think Memorial Hall and the courthouse are the two.
Even the health department seemed very high, but you know, when you get where it's at, you know, it makes it very high. But as you, if it's set up like the one I saw in my email, as you go through there, it's best to kind of leaf all the way through and actually associate with what they're calling some of these buildings. It says like office building. Well, office building turns out it was the ambulance center. So the way it's labeled, you may have to go through, see the picture, and see how that's labeled. If you guys want to see it now. Or?
Why don't Commissioner Barrett take it home and review it and then bring it back, and then or is it we have to act on it?
No,
I mean, there's
nothing.
quite a bit there. I would like to go through it. So if you want to take it home and review it, and then
Or if you don't have time this week,
Bring it
let
back,
Bill
yeah.
this week, because that's what I need to do. Is I'd like to just sit down there and compare what
and you've
these.
seen it, correct or not?
I've seen our current one. I haven't compared it to the other one, but
I would give it to Bill because I'm going to have a challenge getting to
Okay.
it this week.
I'll
Okay.
bring this back. Okay.
I don't know where this came from. This was
This was in with this pack, wasn't it?
no. This is from Senior Village. I don't know where this came from.
That's a Yellow Pages advertisement.
It's a
Oh,
PO. It's a bill.
okay, but I don't remember. Was this with the other PO? But it's not part of it. Peggy hadn't said anything about it. I don't know whether that got stuck onto the back of. Because all of a sudden it's here. Michelle, have you seen anything?
Right
on
on
that?
its own.
She might have just carried it up there by mistake.
Come out of this folder.
It's $200. I don't know whether that would be something we'd be voting on.
She has authority to spend way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just may be something that goes with the bills. It may be.
Oh, it came
without
off
the
of here?
bills. It may
Okay.
be with that, because that's what it looks like. It's just a bill.
It got pulled off the bottom or something.
That's what it probably was.
Okay. We are still waiting. I guess our next appointment is Justin at 1:30. Pat, there was a letter in our box that you had written up to the Davies DeKalb Regional Jail District. Has that been mailed, or is that
Oh, yeah,
was that for
yeah.
us to approve, or
It's just
Just
FYI, that was, the sheriff came in and talked to you about having the bill. We have never paid for anything on extraditions. I did a little research and really couldn't find anything that authorized it, but it also didn't say we didn't charge them. So I called the governor's office, and the Interstate Compact administrator called back and verified that we're not responsible for it, and suggested that we send a letter to the jail telling them that we were not going to pay it, and send a copy to the administrator in Jefferson City as well, so they'd be aware.
okay? I just wanted to make sure that we didn't need to approve it or sign off on it or anything.
No.
You already read that, didn't you? I'll just leave it in the blue folder and find somewhere to file it. And we're ticking through this stuff real fast today.
Should that go in Jack's records, his files, or you
He's
should-
got a carbon copy.
I
Oh, that's
sent him
true.
copies,
Okay,
but-
so he
Yeah.
probably kept it as well.
Yeah.
Pat, do you have anything?
I had, Friday was a County Councilors Association meeting in Salina, which I went to. It's a good meeting. It was productive. I've learned a few things I wasn't aware of that have been changed legislation-wise in this last legislative session. So that was a good conference, as it is every year.
Mm-hmm.
So, AT&T, I don't could discuss. If you want a lot of specifics, we probably ought to go into executive session. But I have had a pretty in-depth discussion with their chief counsel, their lead counsel, I should say, on the case. And we have a telephone conference set up on Friday morning to, I think, to try to get to the bottom of things. So Friday morning, I hope to, next week I expect to know quite a bit more about, well, about the case and the posture that we stand in. If you want to discuss it in more detail, as I said, I think we probably ought to go into executive session. So.
I don't think that at this time, until you've had that discussion, we'll really find out anything more until you find out, something more, because the gist of anything else hasn't changed. I mean, it's just in arbitration, and we'll just have to.
Right. Friday also, Wes is going to join me in the discussion because he was, I'm not going to say boots on the ground. He was the person involved in the project, so he had the direct knowledge of who said what and that sort of thing. So I'm, from the last discussion, I'm hopeful that we'll have a productive posture. Friday morning also is the review on the Slattery nuisance cases at 11. He's already been sentenced. It's his request to modify the sentence. Actually, it's the court review of what should the sentence be modified.
You say it's 11 a.m. Friday?
11 a.m. Friday. And I think that's all I have.
The tax sale's still going?
On July 14th,
Mhm.
yes. Yes.
Without going into too much detail here, when Peggy was here, she was asking about the staff agreement,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and that was going to
They do
be
expire on the 30th.
tomorrow, or
Executive session, I was gonna ask for that, talk about that.
okay. Do we have time to do that before? I mean, the Justin Peugeot's supposed to be here at 1:30. Do we want to proceed with something else, or how long would that take?
15 minutes.
Nothing can get done in 5 minutes.
Right.
I have one thing I want to bring up. I don't know if this is, I had a phone call from a Mr. Montgomery thinking that it was about the beer garden and he had some concerns, and I thought his concerns were about having a beer garden, and I got to thinking, well, we've had a beer garden out there
This is at the county fair.
at the county fair, and he said Jim Reeser has been in charge of it, and they're basically cutting the middleman out, and he doesn't think the taxpayers need to furnish porta potties for the fair. He said that the fair is turned into just strictly make money, and it's getting away from its intent, his opinion. And that the fair board was going to come up and ask us if they could sell beer at the beer garden. And there was something mentioned about the beer garden, but they've never come up and asked us because they haven't come up with their budget hearing.
They're coming up next week.
Well, then that's probably when it'd be brought up.
I don't know if have you had a request for a beer license? Mm-mm.
I had a call night before last from Mr. Montgomery.
The only difference that I know of is that the beer garden would be taken from where it had been, which was behind where Jim Reeser lived. County,
Last
the
two-
fair owns the house at the northwest corner of the park area, right across the road.
That's where it's been the last 2 years.
And it's been in the back of that house. It's actually going to move on to the grounds, which is going to be right west of the pool. I guess is this the city would probably be
City would be the one
the
that
city
had
would
the
be the one that
license.
would give them the license,
They're
which they
going-
would have had to have a license for where it was at previously anyway. I mean,
Correct. Right.
It's a
I do
temporary
have-
malt
It-
beverage license, right?
yes, and it is just I don't really see really a change only of the maybe the location of the beer garden.
Well, if you have a large amount of public people, you need porta potties.
They
Tying it to beer is a little bit of a stretch.
they need it for parade night. When you have that many people in town, and when you have the potential over that many days, that's never a bad investment to have some extra porta potties around.
I'm
So
just telling you what the gentleman told me.
I had a call from him also.
Is that paid by the fair board or by the county government?
I had a call from Mr. Montgomery with his concerns. I don't really foresee the problems with it. I do take. I understand where his concerns were when you have 4-H and kids underage and the mix of that and too much emphasis on beer, but this isn't exactly only a 4-H fair. It's for the public. It's there's other venues that have had beer gardens. I don't see really of an escalation of consumption or anything with this. It's just a change in area.
I felt that he wasn't complaining about the beer garden as much as that the fair board is now in charge of it versus Mr. Reeser. That's the way I took it.
I think it was always the fair board because they own the
No, I
the
think,
house.
what's the guy, Buzz Falk, it was his the last couple of years, I know. He
Well, it
in
was-
charge of it.
He wasn't there last year. I know.
I
So
believe he was. 2 years.
All these decisions should be made by the beer, the
Fair.
the fair board. That's what this is fair board, and until we don't want to start
We
micromanaging.
don't want to pick winners and losers. or
It would be like if we started stepping in on the Mia the Earhart and saying, well, do they serve beer and this
I
and that.
do have Keith Tolliver, 10:30 next Wednesday for
Yeah.
the fair board maintenance.
And also soil conservation too, I
They're
believe.
coming in at 10.
Yeah,
Their
okay.
budgets.
For their budgets. So
Right. So,
okay, Justin, you want to come on up?
Sure.
Well, Commissioners, I'm just here as a follow-up on a conversation that we had 2 months ago, maybe 2.5 months ago, related to demolition fees for a project that was potentially going to happen at the northeast corner of 10th and Main. I'm happy to report they closed on that property last Friday. They've filed for a demolition permit to start that process. So I guess before they start, wanted to get here as soon as possible following the closing to see if we could formalize what we verbally talked about a couple of months ago.
We had brought this up to Stacy, and she said with the billing, instead of cutting the rate in half, it would be easier for her to keep track of the tonnage, cut the tonnage in half. Now, is that how you recall it?
No, not exactly. I was just in contact with her this morning because I was wanting to make sure that we were all on the same page of how this would go down. She said that first of all, she would like whoever is going to be doing the hauling maybe would get in contact with her, and then also maybe the person that's going to be handling the billing from the city. When individual loads come through, they will be getting a ticket, but it will have the full price on it.
Okay.
So each load will have that. And then when that billing cycle comes through, the bill then will be written off. but, so when they
Half
get,
of it, half of
yeah,
it.
yeah, for the 50%,
I believe it's Wagner Excavation, but I'm not, I know he's involved, I don't know.
Mhm.
It'd be Cause or Mexico.
Yeah, I'm not certain what entity
Wagner's,
that's gonna be
Wagner.
coming through,
Yeah,
but.
the
So they get the full bill, then we'll just discount
Yeah.
50%.
yeah, the individual tickets will show the full amount. So, so she didn't want any confusion of saying, well, we're supposed to be at 50% off.
That's
That
the
will
ticket
come,
that they get on every truck.
yeah, every load, the driver will
So
get a
just
ticket.
Tell them, don't
Yeah.
freak out, wait till the bill comes and,
Yeah.
okay,
And so when the statement comes, the statement will have the write down included.
okay.
Any probably anybody involved, either the outfit that's hauling or anything, probably should just contact Stacy and get a hold of
That's
her.
what I was gonna suggest. Maybe you could get a meeting between yourself and Wagner and Stacy and say,
Sure.
okay, this is, and explain it.
Sure,
She wants a little heads up, I think, so she's not bombarded. She wants,
yeah,
so
Yeah.
if we all met, then you'd all be on the same page.
And then like a warning if you knew you were going to haul, start next Tuesday or whatever, so or whenever her hours are,
Yeah.
that they are prepared for it.
I see, yeah, for them it's a big project for them
Yeah.
out there. I
So-
understand that.
Do we need a motion for this?
I think we'd already made the motion.
No, I don't think so.
We just came and spoke during one of your work sessions, it wasn't.
I thought we agreed to it, and you called up Trey and said this is what we agreed to, and everything was done.
It was agreed to in principle, but I don't think that we actually voted on it.
Oh, okay.
That's my recollection too,
Okay.
and it doesn't matter necessarily as long as it happens, but I would think that for the sake of,
I guess it would be redundant if nothing else, if we had already made, if it's a duplicate motion.
yeah,
But the way I remembered it was that we agreed in principle because we didn't know if the deal was actually going to even happen. That
that's
was,
right, and we were sensitive to not revealing who we were even talking about.
Yeah.
yeah.
And now we know that the name of that LLC is
It's in the paper.
Tallgrass
Yeah.
Holdings or something like that, but it's a K.S.A. Bell is the company
That's the name I
you
was.
know how that kind of stuff goes with parent company.
Well, I'd make a motion that for economic development, that we allow the property to be demoed at 10th and Main Street to be reduced by 50%.
I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0.
Great.
Let me ask you a dumb question. I can see they're wanting to get closer downtown, but wouldn't it have been cheaper if they just went out to the other KFC?
That was a different franchisee that was at that
I see.
location, and this one didn't like that spot. Not to mention that it's listed for $650.
Oh my.
I think that's the list price for that property, and they don't build them that big anymore. I want to say that the square footage of those kind of pad site restaurants like that's been cut in half.
Is somebody from economic development promoting that building and soon to be the Long John Silver building to get something back in to get?
Yeah, we know who the franchisees are. Most of the fast food kind of franchisees like that, the way they function now is like, say, Wendy's. They don't dislike this market, but it's just a function of when will their regional franchisee think this is the next best location for them to expand, because they had problems with, think of the old Wendy's that was here and some of the issues that they ran into. Wendy's now, you have to have a $5 million net worth, $2 million liquid.
Wow.
So what they're essentially saying with that is, we don't want anybody to have a Wendy's franchise who doesn't already have a full network of them. So they're
Or significant other assets.
yeah. So the ones that we overlap with would be the ones that operate out of Kansas City, or the ones that operate out of Wichita, maybe Omaha, but like those rings. Think about like the Dobskis who have our McDonald's. I think they have 22 of them, they only have 4.
24.
Oh, 24. I way overshot that estimate. Okay. But I think this K.S.A. Bell has 70 Taco Bells, and that's just there are some exceptions to that. I mean, there are, like you can see on Papa Murphy's website that this is listed as a potential market opportunity for them.
See, I was thinking Papa Murphy's would make it here
Yeah,
in town.
they will. It's on their website, so I'm not sharing anything that's secret. It's on their website.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody like that, maybe Jimmy John's. They are, I think, are still considering smaller type franchisees. But when you think about like Burger King, Wendy's, I have mixed feelings about this because I don't know if having a Burger King makes our community better. You work them if they come to you. I mean, we go to Vegas every year or every other year to that retail convention and have the conversations, but it doesn't feel right to put a ton of resources into chasing Burger King. That doesn't.
Well, retailers don't create economic development.
Yeah.
It's people who produce jobs that then they can
Sure.
go shop at those places.
That's what I could see more of an opening for more of a family type of restaurant, being that we have as many
Yeah.
fast food opportunities, but
We could
I
use
don't know, like
one.
a Runza or something like that,
Sure.
or
And we work those whenever we come into contact with them, but we spend more time developing things like the e-community loan program. We
Mhm.
just announced 2 more of those, one to Muddy River Guitars and one to the hardware store to expand their special event rental offerings.
Hmm.
We spend more time developing entrepreneurship support programs like that for small businesses than we do chasing fast food.
You know, you need to underline that those available to citizens outside the city limits.
Yeah. Anybody
Atchison-
in Atchison County can
So
do the
if
e-community
someone,
thing.
and you know, they should contact you because that's a really good program where someone wants to start
Yeah.
a startup business or improve the business they have.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's where we spend the time. I like the Taco Bell. It doesn't. I don't know that woo, Atchison's arrived. We got Taco Bell back. I don't know that that's really the case. But when it's in front of you, you work it, and you better than not. But
mm-hmm.
Well, you got a construction project. They're going to hire some people. It's going to create some economic activity.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not,
It's going to improve the looks of that
not
corner.
embarrassed by it.
no,
But
oh
it's
no.
just not
Yeah.
like we're not going to stand on the top of the courthouse and scream, "Yahoo! We've arrived."
It removes an eyesore to the main.
I heard on Louise's radio show that there's going to be some kind of fountain or something put across the street that they was talking about.
Oh, West Star.
Yes,
There is a little, I don't want to say little, but a monument sign.
yeah.
And how that came about was West Star has they're actually, I just came over here.
They're out there
from over
painting
there.
on it right
They're
now.
painting.
I went by. That looks nice.
It's
Very.
slick.
That is
They
very
put-
nice.
Yeah, very nice. They didn't have to go to that extent.
That is
so
very
I
nice. Have you
applaud
seen
them
it?
for that.
Mm-mm.
It's worth driving out there to look
Yeah.
at it.
Just right there
Substation.
across on the east side of Blair's.
No. Go on out. Go across the viaduct and go up there like you're going to Old
Oh, to
Washington
the new
School.
wall, the Amelia
Yes.
Earhart wall.
Yeah, they was out there painting black in it today, and it looks nice. It's very nice.
I
And
thought
they-
it looked nice before they painted.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it looks real. And Louise had them on there, and they was talking about other projects, and I thought, you know what?
How that
That's
kind
a
of
good
came
deal.
about is they were testing that method, and so that's how the little monument sign came about. Is they were testing how to make that form and that color work, how we were discussing it. And so they've got a little monument sign, and since that's their property and it's really not developable because it's got some, it's an old substation site itself,
Yes.
so you don't really want.
And I think
People spending a ton of
they
time
also
there.
mentioned that they've been buying a lot of stuff from Stress Creek for other areas, so
Yeah,
that's
Leavenworth, they
that's a
use
help
those-
too.
They use those poles for
Yeah.
Leavenworth, a 100 pole order.
Yeah,
Which those poles are 2,200 apiece.
Yeah.
That's a significant order.
Yeah.
that's good. They're promoting and they're beautifying at the same time.
Yeah. West Star deserves. They've been really good community partners. Some of the downtown streetlights, they bought a lot of those stress group poles. Not all of them. It was a negotiated back and forth thing. But we had those old, crummy, half-painted ones that were there for a long time. And
Russ
pretty
took it
soon,
down.
yeah, they've been really good partners. Really.
While we're talking about like economic development, do you work fairly closely with Teresa McInerney in the facilitation?
I do.
Okay. She presented her budget here just a week or two ago there, and I mean, I really think a lot of that group and what they do. So
I would go as far as say that there are more examples than not of new businesses or business expansions that have been at least had a conversation with her for help. My wife's practice included downtown. almost without exception, really. I'm sure there's one or two, but she's very involved in the community and does a nice job with that program. I'm a big fan.
I like the fact that, especially for new business people that are thinking about starting up a building or a business, that she works with them, and it might be that they don't have the business model to even start. So, I mean, you want them to come in, but you don't want them at any cost, because if it's a failed business, it can tie up locations, it can, bankruptcies, all this other stuff. So you want them, but you want them to do it right. So, and I just think the world of that group. So.
And I believe she said at one time somebody was wanting a candle thing, and they researched it, and they advised against it. So it's both ways. I mean, they look into it to see if it's viable.
It's not just a rah-rah
Yes.
cheerleaders like, yeah, get into this because we're so what I tell people sometimes is, who that's in a desperate position ever gets a good deal? If you're desperate for a car, you don't get the best deal. If you're desperate for anything, so she sometimes, you guys are absolutely right. She talks to people sometimes, not intentionally, but talks them out of a bad idea.
Well, it could lead to the next thing, because if this business model doesn't work, they might think again on it and maybe include something else or modify it to where it will. So people get excited, they get something in their head, and they want to act on it. Like I think it was the candle deal that she talked about. Well, there's only so many a market for so many candles in Atchison, Kansas, and it's, unless you could attract outside people, maybe if they had gold in them or something, where you could get outside people to invest in them.
A booth at Gateway, maybe that's the right business model for when you don't have to stand there and check people out or whatever. I think she's great program. Appreciate you guys funding that. I really do.
Everything doesn't have to be a home run. It hits singles.
That's how the Royals won.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
When did they win last?
It's been a couple of days. Did they play yesterday?
They
They're
got-
on a hot streak. They're over 500, right?
They lost their last one. They were behind one, I think.
They were real close to it.
I think they lost their last one. They were up, was it 2, and then the other team scored. I think that was last night, or yesterday. But they're one behind 500, so they're close.
River Road project going along good.
I believe so. Where Seth gave me a envelope that was about that thick, full of all the tickets and invoices for rental equipment and all kinds of stuff. We're on track to be well under budget.
I believe Seth had mentioned that was
Yeah.
that's good.
Excellent.
Our at City Hall, the finance department did just send me an email, said they thought they were missing a couple of tickets out of that, so they'll sort it out. But yeah, and Seth wrote me and said they were going to wait to do the chip seal stuff until later in the year when that's
Mhm.
what they're doing. Makes total sense to me. There might be a little bit of criticism of folks, because right now it functions like a really nice rock road. So I don't know if you guys have heard any criticism about that.
Mhm.
I haven't yet.
A little dust.
Dusty.
But you want that to settle, so it's a win-win.
But I
mean,
think
Yeah.
chip and seal's getting ready to get cranked up here in probably a month or so.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
it's not going to be
worried
that
about it.
long.
We drive those rock trucks over it for a couple of months. That'll get that compaction. The chip seal will hold up better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there were any flaws, you'd find out before we got to it. So time to
Say soft
correct.
spots, or they can correct them.
Yep. Pretty happy. If I was reading his estimates right, we'll be
Hey,
at
just
least
while you're here, tell us how
50,000
you finance.
Wow,
it.
very good.
For what we had 200,000 budgeted for that, for all those materials and everything. And it's looking like he spent about 86 on those materials, and it'll be another 40 or 50 on chip seal, is what the preliminary numbers. So we're happy as can be.
You might give us a quick update on how you fund streets through bonding and what that costs and what that looks like.
Really, for the last, I can't speak to before 2008 or 2009, but the program has essentially been to bond $1 million every 3 years. Is that what you mean for our? Yeah. So 2014 was the last one. 2011 before that. 2008 before that. We do a $1 million bond issue and do asphalt and concrete improvements. And you'll see we just awarded a contract to Botteroff for the concrete, and our asphalt section opens on July 6th. And then you'll see a whole series of street improvements over the next few months.
So that $1 million, is that basically spent that every 3 years, or is that?
Yeah, and then it rolls off. It's a 10-year bond issue, and so one rolls off as the next one comes on.
But the improvements actually, do they happen mainly in the 1 year, or are you
Yeah.
dividing that out
Yeah.
over 3
They
years?
happen all in 1 year because we're not set up. Our streets division isn't set up to do big asphalt projects like that. We don't have the equipment, the rollers, a number of trucks. We're just not set up to do that.
Mhm.
So we usually it's I can never think of they're out of St. Joe. They're in have a lot of
Herzog? Or?
Herzog. That's I don't know. I can never remember the name. Herzog and Bettis Asphalt have been the two most competitive bidders on that. But you'll see like 7th Street from Maine to Laramie, and pretty much it's whatever's in the worst condition. We try to prioritize the stuff downtown.
And what you use the most too.
Yeah, what's used the most. So there's some cul-de-sacs, for example, that could really use it, but their traffic count is 7 or 8 cars a day. So and people are driving 7 miles an hour, so it's less critical than Main Street or 7th Street or Kansas Avenue. So that's this year that'll wind up being probably a 1.2 between those two contracts will be 1.2, and we pull anything that's over and above the $1 million bond issue. We'll pull from various line items in our capital improvement plan.
So that 1.2, that's under the cap? It doesn't have to be voted in, because I've never seen where it's voted in. Do you have a cap that you can have so many bonds before it has to be voted by the public?
Sure. Yeah, sure. There's a statutory bond limit, and we're like at 30% of or 20% of what that statutory bond limit is.
Is that set by the city or is that
set by the state legislature, I believe?
Well, so that be for the county as well, or?
I think it would be, as I remember that, it would be in a percentage of your valuation,
Yes, sir.
and that's just set. So I mean, it would be whatever that figure is
Right.
times or
There's-
valuation would
There's
be
certain
a cap.
exemptions in that, like I think utility projects are exempt. There's certain things that are exempt, but like for instance, when we purchased that, the last bond issue that we did was 3 years ago, and we had a street project in that, and then we had the ladder truck that we got 2 or 3 years ago. That was also wrapped up in that, 'cause that's an $850,000 truck. I think the interest rate that we pay on those typically, at least recently, has been high 2s, low 3s.
It's pretty cheap money.
Well,
And
we got. Go ahead.
And the like the ladder truck was collateral for that, or you had to put collateral?
I believe so. And well, the collateral is it's general obligation. So to get that kind of interest rate, you put the full faith and credit of your tax base behind it. So that's what does it.
A matter that's unrelated to that is, and I don't know what part the city plays in that, but like the highway going west past the new ambulance center out there, does the city have any input on speed limit on that? Because that goes up to 65 mile an hour right there at the ambulance center, which is inside the city limits,
It is
correct?
inside, and then the next property, which is Hawk Electric, is outside, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, that building looks nice.
Potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did a great job.
I
would
don't.
say that we'd have some influence on that.
Mhm.
Certainly, if our two organizations were wanting to change and had a good reason for it. KDOT doesn't. They are kind of book people. What I mean by that is they want to see that you have documented reasons that are backed up by the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices and the Federal Highway Design Manual and the
Mm-hmm.
American Association of Street and Highway Design, whatever, all those fun acronyms that have books this big that
Mhm.
engineers get to read. They want to see that you have a good reason for it, and maybe having an emergency, an ambulance station right there. Maybe that's a good enough reason for them. I don't know. I'd have to research it.
When we were looking at that as the facility there, and I had contacted KDOT, and they indicated that we didn't need a turn lane or anything like that, but there's a tendency for big trucks, especially coming out of the city, they're anticipating even the 65 is there. So they are going 65 before they're hitting the sign, which is still inside the city limits. And any traffic going west, turning, making a left turn in there is a potential hazard there. If that would even could be bumped down to 55 even for a short time. And at the last ambulance advisory meeting, I asked if there had been any more incidents, and they said no, because there's been an increase in the patrol. They've been having the police and sheriff look at that. At the same time, I thought maybe to be proactive, if there was something that we could do to, even a mile further out, get that speed limit down to 55 for another short distance, even half mile out. But it wouldn't be just for the ambulance. There's also the Hawk Electric, and there's other businesses along there, and the turn off to Pineview, which is quite a bit of traffic on there. There's a lot of truck traffic going through there, and like I say, they're anticipating. So it's not that they start to accelerate there; they are already going that speed limit.
Yeah.
So if there's anything in the future that you see that. And I even thought about waiting till the next city-county meeting, but I thought since you're here, maybe
Sure.
put a bug in your ear and you'll kind of know.
Adam's Leroy Kane left. He's not the area engineer
Mhm.
anymore. And he's one of the metro engineers now on the Kansas side of Kansas City.
He still lives here, I see him around
Yeah,
town.
he does.
It's Leroy's who I had talked to, and
Adam's and that's Adam Olson's the area engineer now, and he's pretty responsive when I ask him questions about things. So I'm happy to send him the question. I would say that I sort of subscribe to the theory that signs have new signs, especially if you put some flags on or something, can have an impact for a period of time. But signage, most of the time,
You can't
is not
rely on
it's not a solution. People drive as fast as the road design allows them to, and in a highway setting, people are used to going 60. So that doesn't mean it's not worth trying. I mean, it's a couple of signs. It's a $60, $70 thing and a little bit of coordination. If it helps a little bit, great.
I don't know if that's who I would need to talk to. Also, I'd even thought of if it continues to be a problem there, if we could put up a sign on the westbound lane, kind of like the stop sign south there by the old Pineview. They've got a flashing sign. Well, even if at the county expense, I wouldn't mind doing that if it's allowable. Like ambulance center, traffic or.
There is something in the MUTCD's, the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, and there is something in there for emergency crossing or something to that effect is in there. Beaver Carney came in one time. He was working on a project for us and came and asked, because he really is a fan of that flashing stop sign that's out there. So I looked into it. I think
They're not.
1,600, something like that.
I don't think it was that high, was it?
Oh, it was a lot more expensive than what I thought. Seth told us.
I was
two
thinking.
numbers in my head: 1,600 and 3,100, and I don't
I
know which
don't
is right
recall.
if either.
I didn't think it was quite 1,600, but anyway, for dangerous intersections, it's very good.
Sure. Yeah, if it prevents one accident, worth it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard so much about speed, but I heard from a potential city commissioner or candidate or whatever you want to call them that they would like to see the county and the city go together and clean that corridor up as much as they could, because they feel that hurts as people come in. That's the first thing they see, and they've got a negative attitude right off the get-go.
I have had, of course, I'm on the K.S.A board, which we've had nuisance suits through, and when serving on that board, I've had people from other counties saying that looks much better. They've complimented Atchison and Atchison County on cleaning that up a lot. I know there's quite a bit more to go, but
As always, there's more to do.
yeah.
Well, Mary can relate. When we come from the south, we used to have to go by it all, and now we got pretty sights, don't we, Mary?
So that I think it's a good start, or it's been positive through there. But like you say, there's more to do. But I just wanted to relay that other counties have noticed and given me compliments.
Something else, and you mentioned it, and I think me and Jack talked a little bit. We have no issues with the city and county, but we need to have more meetings than what we have.
Joint?
Yes, yeah. There's nothing the county wants that maybe the city has something, but just keep the conversation
Yeah.
going, and
We're overdue again.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was December was our last
Was it
meeting.
really?
it's been quite a while.
Yeah. So I really, besides that, I really don't have anything on the agenda. There's nothing burning, but, you know, a lot of
No,
times
just,
it's too late almost to wait.
Updates on construction projects, like for example, we opened bids, or KDOT opened bids for the highway reconstruction project on 73. Came in 225,000 under what we budgeted. So we had 1.5 in our we had 1.5 in our expense line item. We have a $1 million KDOT grant that's paying for it, but everything over and above that was going to be on us. So bids came in at 2.275, so we're 225 on. That's going to save the city 225,000, which is great.
What are you going to buy us?
It's
rolls
been
over.
2 or 3 weeks ago, as I was coming to the commission meeting, there was 3 4-wheelers going up your
Yeah,
sidewalks.
I've heard that. Our police are aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you have to put a sign so you can be arrested or ticketed, or if there's no sign, but they should know better.
Yeah, I thought the point of 4-wheelers that you didn't have to be on concrete. That's what I thought. But
It's very inviting.
yeah, yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, said, "Hey, that looks really nice. Can I drive on it? The highway stinks."
Well, that's a true statement.
That's true, but we opened them. It's been 2 weeks ago now. We'll approve that contract at our next city commission meeting. They'll as soon as the construction that's going on right now, as soon as that's done, I would expect the next contractor to start within a couple of weeks.
On the highway, on itself.
And that's the southbound lanes and an under drain, because I think that's been the problem there a long time. An under drain from U Street to 274th, and then all the rest of the pavement gets mill and overlaid. Be first thing next year. But by this time next year, the whole corridor will be slick.
I have mixed feelings about the walking trail, but I'll be the first to admit it looks nice. It looks nice.
Yep. Hope it gets used.
Time will tell.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't have anything more. You talked your leg off.
Yeah, I would advise you to set up a meeting with the demolition and Stacy and yourself, and so everybody knows what's.
Yeah, let me recap my takeaways here in my to-do list. So I need to meet with Stacy and the contractor. I need to.
And maybe the city financial, whoever's taking care of the tickets on the city side, so they know when those are coming through that, you know, beforehand, so that will be taken care of when
City
the.
county meeting.
Got KDOT speed limit on 59. City county meeting. Anything else? That's it.
The nuisance out on the highway, I guess.
That'd be it.
When we do have a joint meeting, I like to see it in the historical museum. There's a meeting area out there.
Oh,
Oh, at the depot.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're just thinking of a reason to get in there.
yeah, well, that would be, and is it fairly good size meeting room?
Yeah, they have a pretty good sized area.
I haven't been to the meeting room there, but I know last time it was in the city hall and it was a little tight up there, so.
Well, they have the legislative area where they do the legislative copies and stuff.
Yeah, just in the visitor center there.
You might have to slide a couple tables in there,
Well, as long as we can get chairs, I mean,
I don't
it's
know whose
pretty
turn
good.
it is, the host, if it's our turn, their turn.
It's the city's turn, I believe. We hosted last in December.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for getting me on so quick, Michelle.
No
Appreciate it.
problem.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Justin.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Michelle, did you email about the subsequent events? Bill?
I don't think I've heard anything back.
Okay,
I
just
sent an email to Jamie, Connie, and Carol.
okay. I just thought if at any chance that Carol had emailed something back, we could actually act on it today and get started with it. But I don't think that I could really make up a list out of whole cloth without their advice anyway. So hopefully this week they can get us
I can forward it to you when I get something back.
I'd like for you to put a note in Jamie's box to get with Mike Gallner. I'd really like to talk to him
Oh, Mike
As soon
at
as-
Gallagher.
Yes, at Gallagher about where our rates are, and we're here budgeting, and we shouldn't have that.
We should, yeah,
If
we need
nothing
to
else,
have
a
that.
phone call or some kind of ballpark, you know.
What is his last name? Gallagher is the name of the broker, but Mike, I can't think of it.
You recall?
No, but.
I always thought it was Gallagher's. I thought him and his dad owned the business.
Yeah, I think they did, and then they sold out. I think you're right.
I didn't think his last
Or
name was
maybe they
Gallagher.
sold to Gallagher.
I think that
Gallagher is the name of the company, I know that.
Yeah, that is a fact. His name is Mike.
Yeah.
I think it's Mike
Two
Gallagher,
facts.
and then him and his dad started up and they sold it. But I may be wrong. I don't know.
Okay, let me check back through and make sure we got all of our everything.
We need to look at our list and see how many more outside agencies they need to be reminded.
Yeah,
Like
Michelle-
Keller.
Keller.
I knew that.
Keller's killing us.
Michelle had got this list. Some of these that she's are written in are scheduled to come in, like Melissa came in today. But of course, the top one, which is the clerk, doesn't have anything down yet. But, anyway, the blank ones are the ones that
Need to come in.
haven't submitted anything yet.
Got quite a few to go.
Does Jerry Kuckelman, he don't usually come in, does he, with court or the?
He'll say same as last year.
But doesn't he just usually email us a proposal, or how do we?
I don't know.
Pat's his messenger.
Because I don't remember him ever coming in the last 2 years and actually presenting us with anything. But
I can ask the office staff.
It may not be a bad idea to get through the holiday and maybe towards the end of the middle of this month to have a special budget meeting and start penciling some of this stuff in because time's slipping by.
yeah, I think especially if we could
We'll get a rough draft, then we get it off to Patsy, and then we get it back, and then we can fine tune it and then meet back with them. And
especially after if we could get some kind of quote or good estimate for health insurance. That's going to
Exactly.
be one of the biggies right
Exactly.
there.
that's why I brought that up.
Yeah.
Well, these Louisville, Atchison, Happy Hearts, Doves, we should be giving them.
They should be coming in, and I knew it was going to be kind of a problem this year because it's an accelerated timeline, and it used to be they didn't start till now. Well, I think a lot of them,
Maybe you want to have an email, Michelle.
I think you did last week, didn't we?
I
Or
don't
it
know that I
was-
emailed for budget. I emailed the department heads,
Okay.
but I did not contact
I would go ahead and send something else to
Yeah, give them a
these.
deadline of some sort, the 11th or
I
the
asked
18th or something.
Michelle and I was talking this morning about this, and I thought this is a great list. But I thought next year if we would have a column out here of like, and go ahead and she could print what they received last year, and then as they come in, we could kind of do a checklist and write, what the new request is, just so we have a quick reference when we're doing budget, what that request is without having to go through.
Bill, you
the big-
suggest we have to have a special budget session outside of Tuesday or Tuesday? at budget
Probably, because you never know who's going to come in during workshop, and then
Yeah.
you really can't talk about budget live on camera.
session? Yeah.
So I don't know if we're there yet, but we should be
I
getting
think we ought
close.
to be setting the date for it. I mean, I think,
But I'm like what Eric said, boy, I would love to get that insurance because
Why don't we set that next week? And then by then, Jamie will probably have an answer if she's called him or Gallagher Insurance, and we may have.
or it could be the simple fact we meet at 8 instead of 10.
Well, I was just gonna ask you.
I don't mind any of those things.
I've been putting everybody typically at about a half an hour to allow plenty of time
Mhm.
for questions. I noticed last year there was a couple days that you guys came in at 9 versus 10, so you were 9 to noon on budgets. So would that be something that I would be able to
We could do
put
that.
into play for the month of, at least the first couple weeks of July? We'll start at like the 13th.
Start at 9 and have the workshop
11th, I
be
guess.
pretty much budget unless somebody has to come in.
Those last 3 weeks of
We could do that
July, we
too.
can do 9 to noon.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
I would backfill it. I mean, and I don't know, do we want to actually definitely start there unless we
Hello?
get filled up, or,
Oh, I
Hello?
could start it at 10.
and then if you
Hello?
get
And
too,
then if I get too full, we can go backwards.
okay, how would we
I will email.
email it, then you would have to
I'll make sure
publicize
it's
it?
on It'll be on the website.
Okay, just so we make sure all of our i's
So
are
then
dotted
Wed-
and
Wednes-
t's are crossed.
Wednesday, we're gonna meet earlier then or not? Next
Not
Wednesday?
not unless she would email us.
Okay.
So we'll stay at the same unless she gets filled up and she can start backloading the appointments from before 10 o'clock. If she needs in a 9:30 or a 9, then she can email us and we can start. Because there would be no problem here to do that. And
Did you guys like the half hour for the
ready?
entities, each entity, correct? I mean, is that,
it probably wouldn't need to be like for Happy Hearts or something like that, but definitely Road and Bridge, Sheriff, or anything like
Or
that
I'll
that they
make
want
a
to come
motion to
in.
go
Probably
ahead
any
and you just
department
read
head.
it.
as I have next Wednesday, I've got soil conservation coming in at 10, the fair board and the fair board maintenance at 10:30, county treasurer at 11, and then project concern at 11:30. So that appointment's pretty full.
Probably the 10 and 10:30, I don't know if they would each need a half an hour or not, but, you know, we've always got enough stuff there. If they leave early, we can run their second appointment earlier than talk about other matters, so,
Okay. And I may have other people call in and try to get in, and I could squeeze them at.
yeah, I was gonna say, if you had a small one like Happy Hearts, if they wanted to present something, then we'd probably have time in there.
Okay.
I
Play it
don't
by
know.
ear.
Yes.
I don't know if you asked it or I missed it, but we have offered the job of project concern. The lady hasn't accepted yet, so I can't mention any names, but I think we've got the hire on board.
I did receive an email from Project Concern, actually from Jeff, and he was wanting to come in to get on, but I think he had told me that they had filled that.
Yes,
She will not start until July 10th.
but I haven't heard that she accepted yet, but, okay. Took a little bit longer than we anticipated, but from everything that I've seen and heard, it's a good hire.
The Project Concern bus, I've had a question about that. They charge by the trip, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
I had an individual that was talking to me about, she said that it's very hard. She lives very close to Atchison, but in the country. When she wants to have a doctor's appointment, that they can only come out or like 9 or 9:30, and then they said the bus is tied up. So if she goes to the doctor, they can't come get her and take her back till quite a bit later. So there's this big gap. I mean, she can. Basically, she said it's not feasible to use it because she's stuck there until the bus is able to get back. And she said it didn't used to be that way. I don't know whether they won't.
As far as I know, you got to give them 24-hour notice. They will pick you up, and I was understanding that if it's a doctor's appointment, they will wait and then they will take you back.
Well, the way she explained it was that they left and she was to call them when she was done, but anyway, they couldn't. They said, well, the bus was, it either went to Effingham and was out. But anyway, she said it takes so long, she really can't utilize it because she can't get home.
The only thing is, we all know when we go to the doctor's office and you think an hour and it's 3, that there was another scheduling. So I don't know. That's a question that I could ask her, or when Jeff comes up, we can bring that up and ask him.
Who actually schedules the bus?
The director.
So the new hire will be the one, and it'll be
And then
okay.
she gets with the buses. We have 2 of them.
I'd probably just postpone until we get the new director in there, and then if I have any questions, I'll get a hold of her
Well, I'm going to say
or him,
that
whoever this is.
they should be on board right now, I think.
Okay. Is there any other older unfinished business we need to get to?
Well, he asked about older unfinished business, then I'll ask for that, and then you can read it. I have none, but I would like executive session on, read it, chief.
Is it the attorney?
The Board of Personnel Matters.
Oh.
That the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session at 2:12 p.m. to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel as allowed by K.S.A. 75-4319B1, and that the purpose of the closed session is to protect the privacy rights of the employees involved, and that the board come out of the executive session at
30?
20, yeah, it's gonna be short.
Oh, is it 2:20?
Yeah, I would think, wouldn't you? Or 2:30, whatever.
2:25.
Okay.
Split the difference.
In the
Okay.
commission room, first floor courthouse, and those present will be the county commissioners and county councilor Patrick Henderson.
So moved.
Well,
I made the motion.
Yeah,
And he just read the verbiage.
Okay, second.
yeah, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. We'll now go into an executive session. We're now live. Not exactly live, are we? I've already turned the camera on.
Oh, you have, okay, thank you.
Okay, I would make a motion to direct the county councilor to secure an extension of the key employment retention agreement for 1 year through June 30th, 2018.
With the employees of Senior Village.
The key employees of Cedar Village.
I'd second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Passed 3-0. Okay, is there any other older and unfinished business that we need to take care of? Pat, do you have anything more?
No.
Mary, public comment? Anything out there?
Any questions?
I'm not sure if I got that motion clearly. Extend
The key
one
There's
year
Jamie.
extension to key employees.
What it was, we offered a severance package deal when we first discussed selling home because we didn't want key employees to up and leave. So, and it runs out Friday. So we extended it for another year.
Okay. Jamie, you're just in time. We're just about ready to adjourn.
So
So
we're running out of paper to ask questions, so,
I want this done.
oh,
Carol sent a response back, the auditor, on the management of subsequent events. You wanna do that, but I'd really like to get that done, because we need to get the.
I just asked Michelle if she had seen a response yet, and she hadn't yet. So, because
It came.
Huh?
It just came, so.
Oh,
when we
okay.
when you were in executive session, that's where I
Okay.
went to.
he said he had the letter ready.
I gave it to her.
okay, we got an extra copy.
I'll just scan it in, and I'll get back to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Michelle, did you get a copy of that?
I have,
Okay.
yes.
About halfway down through that first paragraph where it says, also if you were going to go into a major debt in the following year we might disclose. Would that be if we're considering a bond?
I don't think we're that far along yet.
Well, it's for the whole year though, Jack.
That's for next year, right?
I think, she's probably talking about current year, if there's anything in the current year,
Right.
17.
Okay.
It still doesn't, this don't give us a checklist or something what she wants us to do to identify these problems, or that's what I was, I would like to have something with some verbiage, or maybe do they have an example from other counties, what they supply for, and who's going to do this? Is this going to be something that you fill out, or the clerk does, or Pat? Who needs to take care of it? What needs to be involved? Because evidently this will probably be something we need to fill out every year from now on. And
Yeah.
It just seems like she's given us a lot of the verbiage if we just turn it into a checklist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there a taxpayer that's going to default? And the answer to most of these now is no, that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well, the question isn't, is there a taxpayer that's going to default? It's, are you aware that a
Right.
taxpayer is going to default?
Yeah.
Not that one might, but
Yeah.
so is this question posed, who is it posed to? Because I could answer these questions. I don't know of any of them, but if Pat was aware of them, or, that's what I'm saying. To me, it
And
seems,
that's what,
Be a joint
thinking about
answer.
it, I mean, it should be,
All of us.
the board as a whole and Pat you should all be aware of any of those, issues that
So
would come
did you
about.
want to draft a letter that says we are not aware of any significant events?
And then list, where it says the procedures on how to list. And that's something, probably at the, reorganization meeting at the beginning of the year, that's something you guys would go over, is those potential
Right.
problems.
But I
And
would
create a
think,
checklist, and that'd be something to go over in your, reorganization meeting at the beginning of the year.
would a letter suffice now, just stating that we don't know of any of these?
I think that form that I had originally printed out, as long as we have a response in that form and send it back to her, she's fine with that.
Okay. Do we have a copy of that we could sign now, or?
Yeah, I can go type it in and print it out.
I know that's what you're wanting, to get this done. So if you want to go get that, I think we would be more than willing to sign that today and
Yeah,
get this taken
but
care of.
are we sure that we know enough when we sign off on it that what she wants, that we're 100% sure that's not going
well,
to
she's
happen?
asking if there's something,
She's.
Are we aware?
Are we aware of anything
that's gonna cause us
that could affect
financial
the
in
balance
the
sheet?
future?
Yeah.
are we
And,
aware of anything?
and that don't mean that if something was not made to us, we were made aware of, that we're not going to be held liable. But as of this date, we are not aware of any of these outlying things that could affect the budget.
And that it should be disclosed, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Yep, I'll go, put that in there and bring it back real quick.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's gonna make her happy. I wish I'm more. I know she's been wanting get this passed, the audit passed. So
Well, I just received it when I was out there, so I went down and I told her that we were in executive session, gonna be closing up. You may be done after that. And she says, no. So I told her that, come down.
When she comes back in, say, we've been thinking about this. We better not do it. See what
we
she
just don't
says.
really know.
We don't. Yeah, do it.
I kind of scared.
Do it.
She may be walking out the door before we get a chance to talk to her.
Oh, she can take a good joke, but I don't know. This is.
I'll set you up. I'll say, but Eric, I don't know about this. Right when she's opening the door.
Did you by chance have any committee reports or anything like that?
Oh, I forgot to ask.
Did any of that?
Did anybody have any committee reports? I didn't follow procedure.
Well, that's what
I don't have any.
I got one coming up July 20th, but I was going to relayed about the project concern hire, but it's not official yet. It may well be now.
Okay. Yeah, I skipped over. I didn't have any. I actually had a teleconference for kneecap on Monday at 1 o'clock. They had some issues that were time critical. It saved a meeting. So nothing major. Just a board teleconference. We gotta sign off on the bills. I've already signed. That. Payroll here.
I haven't got down pat and smooth the top of the paper yet. Sometimes left, sometimes right.
One more.
Knock on wood, there's only been a couple times when we forgot to sign one, or somebody missed a signature, so. That would probably happen this month now. I missed this.
Now that you said it. Did anybody want to see the actual
You want to see the bills?
statements?
Oh, yeah, I need to.
You need password.
Just go ahead and, that's, the approvals are right on top.
You know, matter of procedure, do we send a check for every one of those bills?
Not for everyone. I mean, a lot of that stuff is, they're listed, but checks aren't necessarily all, every item isn't a check, is it?
I think
Is it?
so.
We could save a lot of money by paying those electronically.
I didn't think there was actually a written check for every one of them.
Right there. I think there's a written check for all. I don't know if
I mean, boy, they talk about probably $1 to produce the check, 50 cents for postage. So I get $3 delivery. In labor, you probably have $5 for the check. You can get electronic. Just like payroll.
I think the payroll's automatically draw on everybody, 100%, I think. But we had some growlings about that.
Well, some people don't have checking accounts, but usually they do it to a card or something.
They just want the old-fashioned way, check in the mail or check in their hand so they can see their numbers.
I think all our employees now have to have direct deposit, and we can get them a card if they don't have.
Yeah.
So if we're doing that, at least.
I do know a fourth of Walmart employees don't have a checking account. And they get a card. They can go to a debit card and go to the machine and draw it.
What's this
This is a map of the fracture critical bridges that Seth had. I was talking with the Capioma Township, one of the guys that came up here, Mr. Oswald, and one of the things that we had was talking about was when they call for an appointment, we didn't realize that day that we thought they were going to be talking about the low maintenance roads. Well, they were talking about the bridge. He said, well, why weren't you and Seth basically weren't ready? And I said, we didn't know we were talking about that bridge that day. So I asked Michelle that if there's a township or somebody has specific requests to talk about a specific road or bridge, that she contact Seth and let him know. That way we were more prepared. And so then I had Roger make some copies of this, and I actually put a big one back there. One of the major topics that we have is people coming up and asking about these bridges. So I've got the map on the back wall there of this same map here, and so we've got a quick reference.
Mr. Chairman, after reading this, I'm not so sure we should sign this yet.
Let's see.
I think we can wait
You
till
are honoring.
the 30th. How about the 30th of July?
Yeah,
said-
your budget's not done. Don't call me.
Oh.
Well, Mr. Chairman, we better sign it.
And then there will be, once we get those last few items back to them, there'll be one more letter. The management representation letter, she noted on the bottom. So it'll be one more letter for you guys to review and sign. So hopefully I'll have that next. I will be gone next week, but I will get it to Michelle so she can have you guys look and review and sign.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for have the Board of County Commissioners sign off on the management ID of subsequent events requested by Carol to finish up our audit currently underway?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0.
Mr. Bauer brought up a good point earlier in workshop, like when you're going to be gone later on. I know Michelle said she was going to pick up some of your duties. Have you kind of delegated some of that out, or have somebody in mind? Like Wes will take care of the financial part of it, or?
We can still sit down and discuss. There's a lot of it that Melissa should be able to handle as far as payroll and benefits. That's going to
Okay.
be the largest chunk of it. I will have my computer at home, so I'll still work from home some. But yes, I'm hoping to sit down and discuss with Michelle and Wes and several others, kind of come up with a game plan.
That's what I was telling that I had this discussion with you a couple weeks ago there. It's because we've been wanting to get everybody cross-trained, and I said,
Perfect opportunity.
yeah,
So,
perfect opportunity to talk about it, and because we need it for every day, not just because your special circumstances.
yeah.
So it's be good.
And Seth brought his budget in, and Commissioner Bauer brought something up about salaries and the increase. And Seth said it 2 or 3 times, well, that's the figures that I got from Jamie. Are you sure that your figures are?
He's going to send me what he had as far as his salaries. And I haven't, I'm sure most department heads that have been in here have told you, I haven't done anything on the benefit side yet. I've been trying to get the audit finished up before I switch to budget. So that is going to be my next goal, is to work on some estimates and look at everybody's salary numbers and then come up with their.
Yeah, because he put a 0 in here for benefits, but then he put in his, so we haven't got a true picture.
Anything you raise in salary is going to raise his benefits accordingly.
Definitely, yeah.
And we're probably going
Can
to
I
have
see
an
that real
increase
quick?
in health,
This,
Yeah.
unless it's some kind of miracle.
I'm hoping. Our claims data looks good so far. The last time I talked to our insurance broker. So it'd be hopeful that we would get another rate pass, but we'll have to see.
that was one note that I wanted Michelle to put in your box. Get a hold of Mike Keller. Tell him we need some kind of ballpark numbers.
And
That would help us a lot.
Because I'm pushing him on that, and I'm pushing him on getting open enrollment done before I leave. So,
Well, the city's got theirs. I don't know if they worked with him earlier or.
okay,
I've been told the city went 6.5.
went up that much. Okay.
Now, I don't know what their claims was like and nothing else, but I was hoping ours would be.
And they switched to a
Worst
different
scenarios,
insurance
the
company
same.
last year too. So,
I know what one of the things that we had this morning on Melissa Crane was here for the appraiser's office. 2016, the personal services was 218,000, and then for current budget year, it's got 200,000.
which for first 16, we had that extra payroll built in that we didn't end up having.
For the
Last year.
extra
I don't know if
payroll.
that's 15 or 16 now. So some of the salaries did decrease. But her and I are going to review hers.
Okay,
There's a couple
she's been
department heads that want to review theirs.
Okay, yeah, it don't hurt to go double check some of those. But
Yep.
that was just a question we had this morning, and I just thought I'd bring it up. So.
Yep, I told her this morning that, we try to sit down and review hers, and then Seth said he wanted to review his also.
Oh, you
Okay.
That works. All right.
Anything more?
I moved to adjourn.
Thank you. Good.
I second it. We adjourn at 2:44.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0.